Hi, my name is Jeanette and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. Today I'm going to talk about the books that I read in September. Today is September 30th when I am filming this. I have read 7 books so far this month. I am about 48% in on my 8th book for the month. I hope to finish that book tonight or tomorrow, and I'm still going to count it for September. So technically I read 8 books in September. Technically. Basically I'm doing that because in this video I am only going to be talking about 5 books because the last 3 books that I read this month, the one that I'm working on finishing it, is part of a series. So I am going to do a separate series review video to talk about all 3 of those books together. And that will be the next video that gets posted. So today I'm only going to talk about the first 5 books that I read in the month. But to let you know, that series review will be the Wings of Glory series by Sarah Sundin. So book 1 is A Distant Melody, book 2 is A Memory Between Us, and book 3 is Blue Skies Tomorrow. So look for that video coming next. So the first book I read in September was an advanced reader copy of Like the Wind by Robin Lee Hatcher. This is going to be released November the 29th. So look for it coming. I gave this book 4 stars. It is a dual timeline, sort of. It is a contemporary romance, kind of a family story. And I say dual timeline, sort of, because one of the characters in the story finds an old diary, 100 years old, so written back during the Depression. And so the historical timeline is only told through the diary entries. Okay, so upon starting this story, it did not take me very long to feel for Olivia. She has been through so much hardship due to her ex-husband. He was able to use his wealth and power to keep her daughter, Emma, away from her out of spite. When her daughter, Emma, has to move in with Olivia 6 years later, they are basically strangers to one another. The tension between them felt real and relatable. The way their relationship developed over the course of time felt natural. We saw Emma transform from a bitter, mad teen to someone who found something they enjoy and made friends in her new community. We see Olivia learn to rely on God and open herself up to those around her. I really liked the character of Tyler. He truly was a nice guy and was sensitive towards Olivia's feelings. I do wish the secret he had that he would have shared it with Olivia much earlier than he did, but I do understand why he held back. I really enjoyed the historical portion and reading the diary entries. I love reading in letter forms. I love the way when stories are told in a letter form. These diary entries were really interesting to read, and I found myself learning about the Depression that I never knew, or stuff about the Depression that I never knew, and some of the experiences that people went through. The diary writer did question God at times, but also shared how they saw him at work in their lives. I could easily understand why Emma was captivated by the diary entries. Her experiences are quite different from the writer, but she was experiencing some of the same feelings. This is a sweet family relationship story with a budding romance between Olivia and Tyler. I enjoyed seeing the relationship between the mother and daughter improve, and I found the faith message to be inspiring. And overall, I really enjoyed this story, and I gave it 4 stars. The quote that I want to share was, "She hadn't always understood God or what he was doing, but she'd believe in him and had trusted him even when she was hurting." And then there was this other one that really kind of just struck home. "Families were complicated. That's what Haley told her earlier today. She said that God created families with all their complexities and quirks, and that everybody needed love and grace to make them work well. She also said perceptions could make people believe things that weren't true. So as I mentioned, I received an advanced reader copy of this, but I wasn't paid for providing an honest review. So I really enjoyed this story, and I like these characters, and I would recommend reading it. The next one I read was on my Kindle. Well, that one was on my Kindle. Maybe I should say, I'm kind of in a weird mood tonight, so just kind of bear with me. Maybe I'm also drinking iced coffee at 9:30 at night. But yeah, that's okay. So the next book I read was Becoming Fearless by Michelle Aguilar. I also rated this one 4 stars. This is a biography memoir written directly by Michelle. Michelle was the season 6 winner of the reality show The Biggest Loser. In this book, she shares stories about her growing up years, her time on The Biggest Loser, and where her journey has taken her since the show. The way the book read, it felt like I was having a personal conversation with Michelle. She shares some of her biggest fears and struggles and how she works to overcome them daily. While my life experiences are not the same, I felt like I could relate to some of her struggles and was encouraged by her perseverance. There is a strong theme of trusting God as Michelle shares her struggles and inner turmoil. I found it encouraging to read about her struggles and was inspired by her attitude. This book gave me hope. As I remember watching her season, it was fun to find out some of the behind the scenes stuff that viewers don't get to see. And I absolutely loved the faith message and would recommend reading this. So there are 2 quotes that really stuck out to me. And the first one's longer. So I am defined by my loving Heavenly Father, who declares me perfect in His sight and reminds me daily that I am limited only by my own perceptions. So I just need to stop giving so much attention and power to my fears and instead simply agree with what He already sees. And then the second quote is, "What matters most is the character you display when no one is looking." That one just, I don't know, like that, yeah. Your character is who you are, who defines you. You can't have 2 different characters, what others see and what everybody else sees. Like, it needs to be consistent, and yeah. Okay, so then the third book that I read was Kept by Sally Bradley. So this was a reread for me. It is a contemporary romance. I first read this book 6 years ago and loved it. And I enjoyed it this time. I wouldn't say I loved it. I kept it at the 5-star rating because I wasn't going to take any stars away. I was drawn right in after first meeting Mishka, and I had to know her story. As I spent more time with her, I began to root for things to change for her. The author does not shy away from tough topics, and all characters, both believers and non-believers, had flaws. This felt realistic. Dylan is a youth pastor and Mishka's neighbor, which leads to an unexpected friendship forming between them. But their views and lifestyles are so different that neither could predict what the future might hold. The portrayal of Dylan's struggles were filled with raw emotion and had me rooting for him. I loved how Tracy befriended Mishka and shared her faith not only through her words, but also backed them up with her actions. The friendship between these two was wonderful and heartwarming. The author does not gloss over the hard stuff and instead shows readers that God's grace and forgiveness. She really digs into the Bible, and explains it well. I loved these characters and wanted to spend more time with them. I really enjoyed the ending and was sad to say goodbye. So Mishka is an unbeliever who is not living morally. And I don't want to say exactly what's happening because that will give away part of the story. And then there's Dylan, who is the youth pastor. So they are very, very different from one another. But they end up relying on each other. And a friendship forms. And because of Tracy's influence in Mishka's life, so Tracy is the girlfriend to Dylan's brother. And so Dylan and his brother live together. And so because they kind of become acquaintances, and Tracy's like, can see something in Mishka, like she needs a friend. So she reaches out to her. And Tracy is a believer as well. And kind of, she is able to assist and lead Mishka and kind of help Mishka improve her life and her choices and see things. And it just, yeah, I really loved this story. And I remember the first time I read it, I don't know, it just touched me in some way. It was so different from Christian fiction that I'd read. And I mean, it's still very different from a lot of books I've read. And I just really, really loved it. I don't think I had the same draw to it this time around because I knew the ending. I knew what was going to happen, but I fell in love with the characters all over again, and I did not want to say goodbye. So kind of one of the quotes that really stuck out to me is, it doesn't matter how much you've done, whether it's one sin or a million sins, they both have the same punishment, hell, eternal separation from God. And that runs the same on the forgiveness side. It doesn't matter one sin or a million sins. God forgives you the same. So yeah, this amazing faith message in this story. The fourth book that I'm going to talk about is Love and a Little White Lie by Tammy L. Gray. So this is book 1 of the State of Grace series. I have very mixed feelings on this book. I had heard such high praise for this story that I expected to really, really enjoy the story. And I've read Tammy L. Gray before and loved some of those books. But I really struggled with characters in this particular story, especially one of the relationships. I did read this when I was sick, and I have wondered if it affected my enjoyment of the book or not. If I hadn't been sick, would I have enjoyed the story more? Do I need to reread this book? I don't know. I'm not really sure. January is a non-Christian who gets a job at a mega church as an assistant. I liked January's heart for others and her willingness to take on tasks outside of her comfort zone to cover for her boss, Ralph, so that he could take some time to work on a personal matter. I enjoyed seeing her learn about Christ and form a relationship with God. I also liked the character of Dylan. Even though he has been hurt by recent tragedies, he has not turned his back on God. January's aunt and mom have a strained relationship, but this doesn't stop her aunt from offering shelter to January when she needs an escape. Aunt Doreen accepted January as she was and just loved her. There was a plot twist I didn't see coming, but I was pleased when it happened because I wasn't a fan of where the story seemed to be heading. I did love the ending, and January definitely grew over the course of the story. Again, this book also has a really strong faith message, sharing somebody who is not a Christian at the beginning and learning about God and forms a relationship at the end. Yes, spoiler alert, but it is Christian fiction. However, just some of the characters just there was one relationship between two characters that just really irked me, and their actions. And I don't know. As I said, like, I don't know. Did I just read this book at the wrong time? Or would the same things have bothered me if I was feeling normal? Normal? I don't know. So I gave this book 3 stars. I have not picked up book 2 and book 3 yet. Doesn't mean I won't though, because I'm very curious. There is one character from book 1 that I know is kind of the primary character in book 2 that I am interested in finding out what happens. So I will be continuing with the series. Like, that is my plan. I don't know book 2 yet. So we'll see. Okay, so the last book I'm going to talk to is, I actually have it in physical, A Rumored Fortune by Joanna Davidson Politano. This is a historical fiction set in the mid 1800s, 1866, in England. So Tressa, I think it's Tressa, it says, welcome to Taverland Castle, home of the poorest heiress in Victorian England. So she has recently found out her father has disappeared, and they have no money to pay for the vineyard workers or their household staff. But supposedly there is a treasure hidden somewhere on the estate, and Tressa needs to find it. However, family members appear, also wanting to find this treasure. So I thought the story would be very focused on the treasure hunt and kind of figuring that out. But it wasn't. It was not what I thought it was. And I really struggled at the beginning of this book. That after getting 100 pages in, I seriously thought about DNFing it. But I was like, I've come so far already, I might as well keep going. I struggle DNFing books. Yeah. So I kept reading, but I found the story moved very slowly, and I had trouble following what exactly was going on. I think part of my confusion was the time period and the language that was used. And I wasn't really sure what the treasure was supposed to be. Like, was there money hidden somewhere? Coins? Or, like, I was confused. But on the other side, I don't feel like there was enough focus on the treasure hunt. This seemed to fall secondary to Tressa's emotions and interaction with others. So much focus was given to the romance of Tressa rather than the mystery of the missing treasure. Even though Donegan is painted like a bad guy near the beginning, I had a feeling he was going to come out as a hero in the end. I was drawn to him and wanted to know his story and what happens to him. I did like Tressa and her determination to do the right thing, but she wasn't a character I was drawn to. I could see the growth in Tressa over the course of the book, and she learned to rely on God for his strength and guidance and make the right choices. I think I wanted to know what happened, and I just wanted to get to the end of the book. I don't know. I rated this one 3 stars, but I really kind of want to bump it down to 2 because I was really bored. A lot of it, and forcing myself to read until good 60, 70%. And then it was like, okay, I think I know what's going on here. And I mean, I was cheering for Donegan and wanting him to get the girl in the end, or kind of find happiness. So I don't know if this author's writing is for me. From this book, I don't know. But I've heard so many good things, so did I just pick up one of the lower rating ones? We'll see. I don't know yet. I don't own any other books by her, and I'm not rushing out to get any other books by her at this point in time. But it doesn't mean I won't read any more by her. So I did have two quotes that I've written down from this book. And one is just, it made me laugh. What sort of hold did this man have over me that I wished to passionately kiss him and slap him at the same time? Then the second quote was Tressa's mother talking to her and telling her, marriage is a woman's occupation, Tressa. Her method of support. Just as a man may choose the wrong trade, a woman may choose the wrong husband and find herself toiling in misery every day. Find the right one, however, and your life can be wonderful. I love the way, like, find the right one and your life can be wonderful. So those are the 5 books. I don't like that I kind of ended on a bad book. But know that after I finished that book, I picked up A Distant Melody by Sarah Sundin and a sneak peek. I loved it. And as soon as I finished it, I bought books 2 and 3, which is why I'm reading them now. So look for that review coming next. And I want to thank you for joining me today. What was your favorite read from September? I'd love to chat in the comments below. Have a good day. Bye.